absolutely think the market has this wrong. You're 100% correct that the market is short-term disappointed that the government didn't come out and say it's going to immediately start acquiring 100 or 200,000 Bitcoin. It did say it will look for budget neutral ways to do so in the future. And I expect the US government to figure out a way to increase its Bitcoin stores over time. But regardless of that, I think that's the wrong question to ask. I think the right question to ask is, did this executive order make it more likely that in the future, Bitcoin will be a geopolitically important currency or asset? Will other governments look to follow the US's lead and build their own strategic reserve? And to me, the answer to that is emphatically yes. The reason that question matters is that's the question that determines if Bitcoin is, $80,000 a coin or $1 million a coin. So I think this is a short-term setback. I think the market will soon find its footing and realize that actually this is incredibly bullish long-term for this asset and for crypto as a whole.
And this could be yet another wrong question to be asking, maybe short-term, short-sighted, perhaps, Matt. But what would be some of the budget-neutral ways to accumulate Bitcoin for the United States? I mean, some were talking about, as a joke, half a joke, selling cheese reserve or selling, gold reserve. Do you think the U.S. will get there?
Yeah, that's funny. I didn't know the U.S. had a strategic cheese reserve until a few weeks ago. So that was news to me.
Exactly.
I actually think the idea of diversifying our gold reserve is a great idea. If you look at the store of value market right now, you have gold about $20 trillion, Bitcoin about $2 trillion. That means that a neutral position on these two assets would be 90% gold and 10% Bitcoin. Right now, the U.S. is 100% gold, so it's overweight gold versus what the market is telling you. Now, from my own perspective, we should be a third Bitcoin or a half Bitcoin. But I think looking at diversifying our gold stores and reinvesting the proceeds into Bitcoin so that the U.S. is future-facing, it has a foot in the future and not in the past, or at least it's neutral to what the market sees. That's what I see smart investors like Ray Dalio and Stan Druckenmiller doing. And as a U.S. citizen, that's what I'd like the U.S. to do as well. So I think it's actually a very smart question, and I hope we march down that path.
I'm fascinated by this discussion around a stable coin. Do you think that the U.S. will explicitly start supporting USDC over USDT? The idea is that USDT, Tether, could be seen as this foreign-issued U.S. dollar stablecoin, seen as a source of a crypto outflow, or dollar outflow, I should say. Do you think there is a story there? Is there a play there? As a CIO of a Bitwise Asset Management, what do you say?
I think that's a very big question right now. Look, to step back one step, I think it's certain that the U.S. will embrace stablecoins broadly. It's a way of exporting demand for dollars. It's a way of exporting U.S. dollar dominance. It's a way of financing our debt. So I think you'll see bipartisan legislation to support stablecoins. But you raise this great question, is whether it will support only U.S.-based stablecoins or internationally domiciled stablecoins like Tether. My hope is that the government takes a neutral approach to this. And it's worth noting that there are cabinet secretaries who are very familiar with Tether. There's a lot of familiarity with that in the government. So my hope is that we're neutral. We allow innovation to thrive, not in the US only, but around the world. But it will be interesting to see which side we end on. To me, what I'm certain of, what I can build a business around here at Bitwise, is that stablecoins are going to be substantially more important in the future than they are today, because we're going to put the weight of the U.S. government behind it. Again, I'm hopeful that it's balanced. It allows both U.S. and international to thrive, but it's a very active debate right now in Washington with heated views on both sides.